Yeah.
I try to be.
You ready?
No,
Not quite.
this always takes a second. You're good.
You think so? Terry, can you hear, will you speak so we can find out if we can hear you now?
I think she's muted, right?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay, thank you, Terry.
There we go.
Okay, let's call this, meeting of the South Thompson Selectboard to order at 6 P.M. And let's, second item, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Here we go.
Okay. Adjustments to the agenda, we have a few. Sandra would like to talk about legal counsel, appointment of legal counsel for purpose of acquiring title insurance on the Smith and Klein property, hopefully. Penny has asked to the facilities committee met last night, and they voted on hiring an architect, and they would like board approval to proceed with that. Penny also would like to talk about solar panel fencing and some other items there. And I would like to talk, and Terry, if she's still here, we got our permits approved for Island Road and by the Huey Dunson Village Road. And we'd like to have the town waive the floodplain permit fee, which we typically do when the town is doing something. We have a couple of donations that I put under donations. And I'd like to discuss the issue of the public works carryover when we get to the audit report. And we have a correspondence from our CS resulting from our meeting with those folks, the revaluation. So let's, yes.
Moira,
Yep.
I would like to add something. I didn't send it in, but,
Okay.
last night I walked through the Gilbert Butler Center and I didn't see the fire department letter or any information about what's not allowed and what is. And I think that's appropriate to have
Fire department letter?
when you, for you mentioned at the last meeting, it was going to be the same restrictions, don't go down.
Oh, fire marshal.
Fire department.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And so I think it should hang there, and I also think the capacity should be stated, and I just wanted to bring that up.
All right,
That as of last night, it's not hanging anywhere.
okay. We can add
Thank
that.
you.
We can add that, that's it. And I think there's one other fairly major one that escapes me right at the moment, and I'll think it was probably at 2 o'clock this morning. But, so let's deal with the minutes of 8th and 13th. Is there a motion?
I move we approve the minutes from August 8th and August 13th.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Public comment for items not on the agenda. See, we have a couple people visiting us on Zoom. So I assume you're both here for agenda items or just listening. I'm gonna jump around, take a few things out of order. Amy is not here. Are you representing Amy? Okay. So you, we'll take you up first, so we can get you moving if you want to. It's a new hire, Rebecca Hunter.
Butler.
Okay. requested by ambulance director Amy. This is, what position? Is this a driver?
It'll be,
EMS?
advanced EMT.
Advanced EMT, oh. Didn't expect you to say that. My apologies.
Yeah, so,
So, you want to introduce Rebecca?
yeah, this is Rebecca. She's coming down from, northern Maine. She'd like to be a part of our service, and, she just got done dispatch.
Yep, I've worked for Knox for a couple of months, worked at sheriff's office up in Piscataqua County, prior to that in dispatch. I've had my advanced CMP for 5 years, now going to medic school this fall.
Okay, great. And you're living locally or?
I'm living in St. George.
St. George.
I'm in St. George.
Okay,
And I think, St. George is paying for her medic program. Well,
okay,
I think this will make us, pretty even with basic EMTs in advance, so it's nice to have more ALS providers. We'll call on St. George a little less with the new additions.
yeah, no, I think we should make this motion before she changes. Got questions?
You were a dispatcher?
Yes, yep, I'm part-time now, but I was full-time dispatcher for 2.5 years.
You're part-time here?
I'm part-time at Piscataqua County, I'm the one with Knox.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah, I'd definitely make the motion that we.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any further discussion, questions?
No.
All those in favor? Aye.
Thank
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes,
Glad
well,
to have you.
Okay. I see Meg is on Zoom. And I assume you're here to talk about the Mid-Coast project on upgrading culverts.
That's
So
correct.
let's take that out of order. So you don't have to sit and listen to our entire meeting because it's the last thing on the agenda, so.
Thank you. I appreciate that, and I really appreciate your time.
We did get that correspondence and at least I have read it, so. But anyways, if you want to say a few words about the project or the initiative, go ahead.
Sure, thank you. So the initiative is to help communities with upgrading their culverts. You know, we've got a lot of flooding happening, and it's an issue across the region. So our project entails sort of 2 things. One part is to gather information from municipalities to see like where your problem culverts are, what your priorities are, like is there a plan to fix them? And we can help with that kind of planning. Because really, you know, there's going to be more money around to fix these issues, but the grants are going to be competitive. So, you know, kind of getting a jump start on that would be a good idea. And then the second part of it is to take a look regionally and see where the culverts are in the region where like people are getting to work. Emergency management needs access, you know, where there's good habitat connectivity so that we can see if there are any that are significant regionally, so that we can kind of do a little more collaboration on going after some bigger grants to upgrade those. So that's it in a nutshell. And my question is whether South Thomaston would like to participate in the project. There's no cost to you, except for your time, you know, some staff time or volunteer time to get information to us and to be able to review some things with you.
Can I ask a question? What kind of information will you be needing and what's the, I'm just curious because I have a feeling I know who's gonna do this.
Okay. Yeah, you know, the first step is just to sit down with me and like, if you have maps, great. If you don't, I have some maps. It's for us to then, you know, circle, these are our issues. You know, sometimes have a spreadsheet that show like where the priorities are, sort of or a 5-year plan. If you don't have that, no worries. But that's kind of the information we're looking for, you know, where they're located, and where they are on your priorities to fix. But you don't
Okay,
have
so-
any maps or anything like that for me to do it.
So, I've actually been working on a culvert inventory for over a year now. It's a slow process. And I haven't been doing it full time, just, now and then. And, so are we talking about just replacing culverts that are bad culverts, like a driveway culvert? Or are we talking about culverts that are subject to flooding and being overwhelmed and causing, transportation problems, as opposed to just, that's an old culvert that needs to be replaced across that driveway?
Yeah, our project and our funding is to take a look at where there are stream or tidal crossings that could be updated. And this is a planning process. So that, it'll tee you up for implementation fund, for going after grants for that. But,
Okay, so-
that said, like a lot of communities have culverts that flood, which don't have streams or tidal, and we want to include those. But it won't be for just, any old culvert, driveway culvert and things like that. You have a better
Okay.
chance of that funding.
Yeah,
That's what-
so that's a lot less work.
Okay,
But-
good.
Went out of my head. Some of our worst culverts, and I don't know if the state's involved, I think are on state roads that are subject to flooding. One flood constantly on Buttermilk, which is a state aid road.
Yep.
And is DOT teed up with this at all, or is it?
Yeah, that's part of it. We'll take a look at which ones are on their work plan. And then I think this is going to show which ones should be on their work plan. Especially, we'll be doing some transportation studies to show how many people are using that road that one on Buttermilk is under. It can be on state roads or town roads.
Okay. Well. Questions, comments?
Are you looking at old worn out ones or upgrading to a larger diameter?
Yeah,
Or both?
mostly, these culverts are gonna need to be bigger because there's gonna be more precipitation, and also, there's an opportunity in certain circumstances, if there's habitat on both sides, you can upgrade to, what's called a stream smart culvert. And there's funding for those sorts of things. So that's a bigger culvert. But the idea is to upgrade them, not just simply replace them. I mean, if needed. If they're working fine, they're not going to be high on the priority. But if they're maybe undersized, and you're having issues now already with them, they would want to be upgraded. I would assume.
Oh, I'm in favor of participating.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure we have more than a couple that.
Well, actually, I can only think of one, but off the top of my head, but there are 3 or 4 state ones that
Mhm.
I would like to call to someone's attention. I talked to the state about them. One is on Buttermilk, one is on Dublin.
I was gonna say there's a couple on Dublin, aren't there?
Yeah, and then there's the one right down here by Cheryl's house.
Yeah. Well, and then the one on Waterman's Beach Road that
That's,
connects to
that's
that.
the one I'm thinking about.
Yeah,
That's
because
a
as
town.
long as you don't have the beavers up on there,
Yeah.
that one's probably okay. But the
And
other
I
one,
have some concerns about.
Yeah.
But anyways,
yeah,
we don't need to get into the detail tonight, but if
yeah,
you guys want to participate, yes.
yeah.
Okay. Well, why don't we make it a motion to formally participate?
I would move that we formally participate with NCOG on their work for helping us identify and move forward for grant funding on our culverts.
I would second that.
Okay. Get that?
Yep.
All right, further discussion? Anybody have anything? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, so we are now an official participant.
Thank you. So I'll reach out to you, Mr. Spears, and we can maybe set up a time to meet. Is that okay?
That's fine, Hannah, do you have my contact info? I can't remember. I think I got emails from you before.
I think so.
Yeah, if not, you can get me through the town office.
All right, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
it. All right,
Thank
take
you.
care.
Okay. I guess I don't see anything where we need to jump around at this point, so to keep things easy, let's go back and follow the agenda. Forest Hills Cemetery. I think there's a sketch that Hannah passed out tonight somewhere, didn't you?
Yeah.
In the mess of papers that we.
But I also have the big one here.
Yeah. I don't know where it is, mine, of course.
Was it in our package? Should be on the packet. But I just passed over. That's big one, with something else. With the, email.
I just had it. But anyways, I know about it, so go ahead. Hannah, do you wanna introduce this or?
So I have been talking to Tyler from, Gartley Woodski. On what's happening and, he is telling me that. Dana Burton wants us to gift us the cemetery that he owns, the part that he owns. And an easement to the cemetery. There's a couple things. So there's a part above the cemetery, a little piece of land. That is owned by the Forest Cemetery Corporation that they don't know who owns that corporation, they can't get a hold of them. So they won't be having that piece. But also. Dana Burton's gonna convey. The road leading to the cemetery to Benjamin Moore. So I talked to Tyler again and he told me that Benjamin Moore is not gonna be an issue with us getting an easement to the cemetery. We're gonna still get the easement, but it's because the first part of the easement where it comes off the road is on his property. So,
So we need two easements then. We need one, well, it depends on what order it's done in.
right,
Because I thought the last I heard from you was that Dana was gonna put, before he out conveyed that strip of land, he was gonna put a easement in there to the town.
yes,
So Moores wouldn't need to do anything on
Right.
that because that would run.
Yep.
That would run with that, but we probably would need an easement or should get an easement from Moore on his. I guess I missed that point. I didn't realize it crossed.
yeah, so. I haven't.
I can stand.
So this piece right here is what
Oh,
is on his
this
property.
little tiny,
Yeah, just the little corner that goes into his property then reaches up.
oh, but whether it's an inch or a mile,
Right,
that's the problem.
And I did ask if this was an acre, he hasn't gotten back to me yet.
Yeah, because we would be, if it's not an acre, we'd be creating an undersized lot.
So which piece is not owned by?
This is what we are receiving right here.
Okay.
This is owned by the corporation.
Which we could take by eminent domain if nobody can find it.
That's anyone talk to that property owner,
Which one?
That is owned by the Forest Hill Cemetery Corporation.
but there's no deed.
Well, he's identified as a deed
Yeah.
surveyor.
On tax map. Both one.
I think he did.
132, Page 139.
Yeah,
Then wouldn't the whole cemetery be deeded to that corporation?
that's not what he's saying.
Piece.
That's not what the survey is saying. He says, right here, note 4, ownership of the portion of the Forest Hill Cemetery southerly of the land now or formerly of the Forest Hills Cemetery Corporation is unclear. He doesn't say that well, he says it's unclear. No record document was found which conveyed this portion of the cemetery out of the chain of title for the survey property. blah, 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 he goes on and on. And then, the piece north of this boundary line here, he identified, I'm assuming that, because he has a book and page. And he's pretty clear that that's owned by the Forest Hill Cemetery Corporation, and he also told Hannah that the trouble with that is, he doesn't know who that is,
Right, I can't get a hold of
so,
anybody. He said the best bet would to be go to your town attorney and try to figure it out through them, so.
yeah.
How do you find out who owns a corporation?
That's still having a meeting conceivable.
Right.
And if it's defunct, then really.
Yeah.
Right.
Rules to say what happened to.
Yeah, I mean, we could start by looking on the state.
Listings.
State, Secretary of State's, list of corporations. I mean, that's a good place to start, but you get if I, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're getting a slightly different version from Dana and the surveyor.
Yeah,
I personally think that Dana needs to put this in writing, what he wants to do.
yeah, cause he was telling me something way different from what I talked to with Gartley Dorsey. He told me he was gonna give the whole strip to Benjamin Moore, the road to the cemetery, and then Benjamin Moore is gonna go and give us an easement. But that's the total opposite of what Gartley Dorsey said.
I mean, it makes more sense for Dana to do it first.
Well,
Right.
there's nothing guaranteeing that,
Moore is gonna.
Moore would give it to us. I'm not saying he would, but
Right.
I'm guaranteeing that. And then the other issue is prescriptive rights. I'm not sure that's come into play here, because I believe we did this with permission,
Right.
accessed it, you know, and you, in order to take it. You know, in order to have rights by prescription, you have to, the minor thing is you have to have done it without permission. But, so anyways, and it does have to go to town meeting,
Does it?
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Done.
To
But
accept
it
it.
could be a special time meeting. I think this is gonna take a little time. And I don't know what timeline he's on.
I did tell him after the first meeting it's gonna be a long process and he was fine with it.
Dana?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. But I'm also thinking that, we're, later on tonight, we're gonna consider appointing a legal counsel to do a little, title insurance work for us. Maybe that person could also take a look at this.
Yeah.
You know, if we're interested. I mean, we have to maintain the veterans grave by law,
We have to have access to it.
and how do you maintain it without access?
Right.
And I assume there's veterans graves in there, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
Yeah,
25 or something.
yeah, if there weren't any, we wouldn't,
But we
Yeah, that's the one I
also
have a
agreed
letter on,
to
too.
mow and maintain the entire cemetery
the what?
with the mowing. We mow the whole thing, not just.
Oh, I know, but we never committed to that forever, I mean. You know, I guess what I'm saying is, I don't think people would be very happy if we all of a sudden stopped maintaining it. You would agree with that?
Absolutely.
Right, so can we, I think the best thing to do personally is just get Dana to put something in writing, and then we have a baseline to work from.
Yeah.
And is there any, assuming we, do what we're thinking about doing, at Saunders' request tonight, is there any opposition to involving that person? I think it'd be a lot cheaper and quicker and easier, someone who's right there next to the registry.
Yeah.
You know, so,
And we'll
Okay.
address the other part at the same time.
well, I think that we could have that. I suppose we could have her research that, but it sounds like the survey has already done it, but. So I don't think we want to spend a lot of time on that, but we could also, like I said before, we could always take it by eminent domain. And I don't think anyone would object.
Well, I mean, if somebody did, then we'd find out who thinks they own it.
Well-
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Apparently it's on the northern property owner's tax. Well, you know,
Oh, well, I don't know. That's a good question for Kevin. That's
when
the
Barry and I looked at it,
Travis and Crystal,
yeah, and it.
Crystal Spear.
It was
Travis
just a
Farr.
straight line between those two parcels. There was no chunk taken out of it.
Well, that's not what this is showing, but,
I know.
and he even found some pins, I think. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I think we need to look at the whole, and then the other thing is, this probably is less than an acre.
And depending on the road,
Well, we wouldn't own the road though, we just have an easement on it. But if we own the other piece, it would be over an acre. So I don't know what zoning impact that would have, I know it's creating a undersized lot, I don't know if there's any exceptions for cemeteries, but.
well, it's been occupied for quite a while. Right?
I don't know,
That is a good question.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of questions here. But the other piece would clearly get us over an acre. But, okay, so enough on that one tonight, so you're gonna ask Dana to put something in writing and you're gonna you can look at the corporations, list of corporations.
Yep.
Yeah, I think they're alphabetized and they may even be categorized by certain. And we'll see what happens later tonight on the other agenda item. But why don't we move to that agenda item right now? And because I know Sandra has not been feeling well for some time, and if you want to leave, you can, but it's also kind of fresh in our mind, but.
We're on with that sort of topic.
Yeah, appointing a counsel, legal counsel so you can secure title insurance,
Right, well,
Right.
so, and I saw that John did forward that email string to you, Sue, and Jeff, and I don't know if you had time to really pay attention to it, but the situation we've got, and in any case, in order to get the LMF grant, one of our requirements is to have clear title and title insurance. And the tricky bit is that while the Smith is a warranty deed, client is a quitclaim deed. And we were happy to hear that it's not out of the question for to get clear title and title insurance based on a quitclaim deed. I don't have any idea why a client would only give a quitclaim. And I don't know what we find when we go and search it all again. But obviously the next step is going to be to have an attorney who's got expertise in this to see if we can get title insurance on Client Plus. If we can only get, sorry, if we can only get title insurance on the Smith property, which is the vast bulk of it, we will have to modify our LMF grant application, and we would have to modify the survey. We have to get a survey that only had the outline of the Smith land. So just letting you know that that would be the downside if this doesn't go as we hope.
or we could do a quiet title action.
Oh, well, I mean, one way or another, we
Right.
either get clear title to Klein so that it can get title insurance, or we'll have to modify our application and give up on the 17,000 that we paid for Klein. So as I told John, Jim Strong does not do that kind of work, and I gather you'd rather for other complications, you know, not to complicate other stuff, not work with him on this anyway. he recommended Stratton Payson, and I have worked with an attorney at Stratton Payson who does this kind of work and is very good, so what we need is permission to reach out to her and ask if she would take this on and what the terms would be, and I'm sure that they would include, I mean, I figured that the charge for an initial consultation will be modest, but they're going to want a retainer of I don't know how much to proceed. And I guess I'm asking for the select board's approval to work with John and reach out to them.
I think it's still worth chasing.
Yep.
I mean, we're still, I think, gonna come out ahead. And plus, I think down the road, it would be great to have clear title, even if the LMF wasn't even in play.
Yeah.
You know, but, so is there a motion to authorize engaging? I can't remember her name.
It's Lauren Hall at Stratton Payson.
If she's willing, of course.
Right.
Yeah, I'd be happy to make a motion to authorize the conservation committee, is that?
Well,
I think it should be the select board. I mean, it's the town
Well,
with this conservation commission's help.
okay, so the conservation commission, on behalf of the select board to engage.
Right.
I mean, the town would be engaging.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
Lauren Hall to, see if we can get title insurance and clear title to the Klein property. In addition to maybe helping us out with the Danis,
so
for the cemetery
we
access.
need to pursue title insurance on Smith and Klein. And I'm sure we can get it on Smith, but if we run into difficulties, then we'll, she'll tell us what our options are at that point,
Correct.
and hopefully we won't.
Okay. I'm just wondering if we want to make it a simpler motion, just authorize the town to engage.
The town through the.
Yeah, to work on title insurance for the forest reserve or something like.
That's fine.
A little easier for Diana too.
Right.
Okay, is that a motion?
That's
That's a motion.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
And again, Sandra, thank you for your hard work on this year.
Yes.
Yeah,
Thank you all for your support.
okay. Why don't let's finish up with the adjustments, because I tend to forget about them. So, we got our permits to stabilize the bankings on Island Road across, just before you. Well, actually, it's not stabilize the banking there, just before you get to McLuhan's, it's kind of rebuild that up, fill in the voids that were created by the storm and the settling. And we also got the permit to rebuild the embankment next to Village Road just by Adrian and Pam Huyduk's house, where they washed out really close to the road. And Terry reminded me that if you're working in the floodplain, you gotta have a floodplain permit, which I totally forgot about. And she said typically, which I also got about, that we waive the fees when it's a town project. So I guess I'm looking for a motion to waive the fee for those two floodplain permits.
I would definitely make that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay. Penny, did you want to talk about, let's deal with the architect first and then the solar panels, okay?
Last night's meeting, we considered a couple of proposals and voted on Winston and Scott to do the design and feasibility study up there to start our path forward, and, so I'm speaking on behalf of the committee to ask for permission to expend the donation monies that were given for this purpose,
And that's a total of,
15,000.
wasn't it 15,500?
This is what the, this proposal is 15,000.
Okay, okay. So it's less than what, it's either less than or equal to what we have, so. Is there questions? So where's the firm from?
Portland.
Oh. And what was the other firm?
Architecture,
Yeah,
also a Portland firm, so
Yeah.
firms that have done much work with building old and new and combined,
yeah.
we're able to get that to us with.
So, was there any discussion about working with the guy that the previous facilities committee worked with, since he had done quite a bit of?
There were requests that for proposals, but none forthcoming.
Okay,
Okay, well, I would move that we authorize the committee to engage Mr. Scott in the design and feasibility study,
in an amount, to see.
not to exceed the donated funds of about 15,000.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor? And solar panels?
Well, I talked to a landscaper who gave me a price for. Well, the price, this is the community resilience. To put down leaf barrier and stone of some sort, which would have reflective capabilities, because the solar panels are two-sided. And also eliminate the need for anyone to go inside the fence to. Mow. Everyone said, get goats, and I said, no, we have to draw the line somewhere. So this is what I think would be the next best option. And as far as fencing, I talked to a couple people, and Tom Pence apparently is the only one in town, but looked out for years apparently, but and unknown whether he'd be willing to work with the existing skate park fence that we took down and are storing in the garage. The landscaping guy suggested we talk to contractors about doing that, and so now I'm back to, well, we know contractors that are willing to work with us, that maybe we can do it. You know, with leadership to say, okay, this is what we gotta do, and do it ourselves.
The fencing?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I learned out back, just fiddling with the fence to get the equipment in. To the basketball equipment fair, and it's not easy. And you gotta have the right tools and.
Well, my plan is now to speak to some contractors
Yeah.
about advising and.
Yeah.
And it's,
Does it have to be a chain link fence?
I don't know, I mean, they thought we didn't have to have a fence, but.
I mean, could it be just a sectional wood fence or something, or, I know there's maintenance issues with that but. I don't know, I don't
Well, you
know.
don't wanna shade the panel, that's for sure.
No, I understand that, so. Maureen, did you have a question?
Yeah, I have a solar array ground mount. Why do you need to put a fence around it? Is one question. If you look at Eastern Tire's solar farm on Route 1, there's no fence around that one. If you're going out, are you concerned of vandalism? And if so, don't have cameras or?
It's a playground, and so the state inspector would like to see a fence around it because it's a playground.
Okay, you might consider inexpensive fence with T-bars and fencing, but I have goats and they clean the grass around mine solar, right, but we have, but that's the type of fencing that we use for goats.
Can we
Well,
borrow
that's
the
a-
boats?
Yeah, I was wondering if there was an alternative to chain link, just
Yeah,
because if we're gonna do it with volunteers, the chain link is just so hard to work with, but
But we have.
we
and
do.
It's durable. We have garden fencing. Goat fence, sheep fence around the community garden and it does get knocked down.
Yeah, well, I meant something more kind of halfway between that, but I just was curious if you considered it. I know you can buy that plastic sectional fencing, you know, relatively cheaply, but,
Yeah.
so, but the other option, the other problem is paying for it, right?
Yes, and I was hoping Ned would still be with us because we were assured that it was a given that we would be able to get the root state rebate once.
Now, is it state or federal? I always thought it was federal,
I understood it as state, but
because you're talking to the IRS,
Right,
which is federal.
right, this goes through tax relief.
well, maybe I'll reach out to Ned and ask her because. That's, it came to us through the Community Resilience Committee. That the state was going to rebate a certain percentage of the project.
I just recollect having attended a couple of those meetings, I just recollect, and I could be wrong, that it was federal, because I remember the discussion about, well, you deducted off your income tax, and then everybody says, but we don't pay income taxes.
Right.
And then someone said, oh, well, then you gotta fill out this form.
Yep.
That's why in my head it was federal, I don't know if I'm right or wrong,
I
but,
guess I think it was state.
yeah. But you found out, can you share what you found out today about?
Yep, so I have to, deal with the IRS, I have to, this is gonna take a long time. I have to get a number from the IRS in order to file a 990T, which is what this would require to get any sort of money back. And then I would have to file it 120 days before people file their own taxes, so April 15th. And we would have to wait 120 days for them to make their decision.
So I was under the impression that it
This
was,
doesn't make any sense.
I know, but I was under the impression it was a given too, when, I don't know who talked, I think it was Meg, you're right. We should have asked her to stay,
I know.
I didn't put her and that, so this subject together quick enough.
And this is where Sundog Solar advised me to come to with this.
Sundog Solar is thinking individual, they're not thinking municipal. The state did do separate legislation that allows municipalities and nonprofits to benefit from solar farms. And what they're asking you to do is to create a tax exempt ID number,
Right.
which is not required for municipalities.
Right,
So somehow this has gotten off track.
And so this was discussed before we were awarded the grant. And certainly didn't know who was going to get the contract.
I kind of feel the same as Jeff, it feels like we've taken a wrong and left somewhere.
Yeah.
Well, I'll
Maybe you and Hannah can both talk to Meg.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think,
Go ahead, Meg, on that.
Yeah.
because I think what you're gonna find is this trip to the IRS is totally unnecessary.
Yeah, and it's not,
It is.
huh, are you hoping? Yeah.
Long application process, I hope.
Yeah, so why don't we do that? Why
Okay.
don't you and Penny get together and call, set up time to have a conversation with Meg and
Okay,
try to, is that,
Yeah, that's great, but it's a timely issue that we get the fence, I mean,
right,
so.
I can tell you that the fence companies right now are booked out
I know.
2 years.
yeah,
So you're almost for sure not gonna get a fence company to install it. You might get a contractor who's willing to do it with folks that have some experience doing it. But if we're not talking about 10-foot tall fencing, you should be able to get a contractor who can adequately do it.
what height are we talking?
well, it's 4 foot.
Yeah,
What we
shouldn't be a high step for contractors.
And
Most
we,
of them could do that.
and then we have
But even they're booked.
tractors.
No, that's, I don't, yeah,
I mean, I was talking to Joe Garvey, and he booked all the way to next,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, but I know some that. Must be willing to.
You've got connections.
So I'd like to explore that option,
Well, yeah, I mean, that's fine, but
but we would need to spend money on the weed barrier and the rock. First,
I think that needs to happen anyway first. Whether the
But,
fence goes
you
on
know,
or not.
what bothers me about this is we were assured by the resiliency committee that this wasn't gonna cost the town a dime.
Right,
well, and if they get the rebate, it won't.
I know, but we don't,
Yeah.
yeah, so I'm reluctant to go ahead.
Well, but maybe the library could pay for it out of.
Well, the library's in town.
Yeah, but your checking account isn't tax dollars, my checking account.
No, but it's still the town. It's town money, I mean, the money was donated to the town for, not for fencing, you know, I mean,
It was donated to the library,
Yeah.
and so it benefits the library, and it's not tax dollars in that. checking
I understand all of that, but it's still the town's money. And we were told this wasn't gonna cost the town a cent, not by you, I'm not saying you,
I'm on the community
I know,
resilience committee.
and,
I just
I think
think
it
the
was-
definition of town money, you know, I think of it more as being the tax dollars raised.
Not
Well,
donations.
I don't know. Okay, well, I don't wanna get denied about what's town money, it's in our audit report, so, it's our money, so. Anyways, okay, so, what do you guys wanna do, you wanna authorize so how much is it? The rock,
I'm getting numbers,
oh, so we can't even,
1,000.
so if we authorize 2,500 up to 2,500, would that be comfortable?
I imagine so, yes.
Do we wanna do that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd make that motion up to $2,500 for putting in a barrier and some rocks to reflect on the
Okay.
solar panel.
And we're gonna take it out of building and grounds for now, and hopefully
now.
if we get the rebate, we'll pay ourselves back, is that the thinking?
Yep.
Okay. All those,
I'll second that.
sorry, all those in favor? Okay, do anything else tonight?
Apparently we are supposed to be displaying some occupancy. limits.
Oh, hang on a minute, I'm talking about the solar panel.
Well, I thought you were, you know.
No,
that's
that,
what you're talking about the library.
no, sorry, now I'll go to Moira, and now Moira, what's your request?
My request is that when, with the fire marshal, back in the day when there was, he gave occupancy rules and he gave, don't use the basement, and I don't know whatever else, because I've never seen the letter. Then at the last selectmen's meeting, you stated that you had gotten a reply that the same terms were going to stay. And you mentioned 50 people capacity.
75.
Well, I'm saying what John said 2 weeks, a week ago or 2 weeks. Because I don't know what the letter, most of the time, every building that has certain criteria, it's posted. It's posted on the doors and it's posted, you do not go down the basement. There's no signs in Guilford Butler, so I think it's prudent that town have one, the letter posted on a bulletin board with information, but also what the capacities are. And do not enter the basement or whatever it's, since I don't know the letter,
Right,
but
I hear,
I think those all should be posted.
okay, I thought there was a sign on the basement,
I made the sign,
on the basement door,
yeah,
yeah,
it's not there anymore.
oh, okay,
It-
take it
it-
off or something, 'cause
There
that was there.
was nothing last night.
Okay, it was there for a long time, but, you can put that back easy enough, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but it was not ever told me I was required to, that was just.
no, but I mean, Moira's just thinking that it makes sense, well,
Typically, a permit, such as a fire marshal permit, requires it to be posted on site anyway. And that's what we have is a fire marshal's permit
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a good idea, but I mean, if we do it with paper or something, it's just gonna disappear. I think,
You could laminate it and have it on the bulletin board, but also it should have on the doors what the capacity is.
Yeah.
I don't know what they are, but so all people are knowledgeable.
Do we do that here?
no, but we don't have do we have a limit here from the fire marshal?
Not that I know. of.
Well, the.
Oh,
I mean,
most public buildings have a limit, don't they?
Downstairs
Said
was,
most public buildings have a limit.
was issued by the fire department.
I know we don't have anything posted at the school for capacities.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a bad idea, but I don't think it's critical. I do think that not using the downstairs sign should be there.
No.
Because I think a few times people have used the downstairs and just weren't aware that they weren't supposed to be down there. I remember way back when the woman with the flowers or something,
Well, we were storing plants.
well, she was doing more than
And
that.
spoke the water and she
Right.
took it upon herself to do some potting and I told her not.
Right, exactly, but I mean, but didn't realize that she was doing anything wrong, she just, so I do think that's important. Cause he was very emphatic about, again, in that second letter, about not using the downstairs. But I don't, the occupancy in each room, I don't care, I mean, we can post a letter. We can dig out the original one and get it laminated and post it.
Post it on a bulletin board. I don't think it needs to be at the door. Most of them don't have them.
We kill this,
I think so.
okay,
Dismount.
all right. With Rhonda's resignation from the auxiliary board, the select board has an open nomination, if you will. Hannah put on the listserv, no one has gotten back to her, but Penny has come across someone who's interested and talked with them. I think it was in an email she sent. Or you sent, I don't know who sent what, but.
I believe I said.
Huh? You sent it, yeah.
guys, yeah.
Yeah, and Hannah got that a little bit wrong. It's not Penny's nominee, it's the board's nominee. Penny just happened to find her.
You asked me.
Right, if you knew it, right, exactly, but I just, Hannah sent,
The way I said it.
the way she said it.
I just want to clarify.
Right, and she said that you were nominating someone,
Yeah.
I said, but that's not quite right.
Right.
So, and Penny, you said you had a little info on her, is it?
Well, she and her husband retired, Chris Wright, and her husband Peter McLemore retired here from DC most recently, and she has worked in management for the USPS for most of her career, and she's been part of various nonprofit boards and was willing to step up and do this.
Well, I'd move that we nominate Chris Wright to the LLCC auxiliary. Fulfill the vacancy. Or whatever that term is.
Yeah,
I'll second that.
okay. Further discussion, I just wanna say that if this passes, which I assume it will, both her and Candace will have to be, they're just being nominated here, the board actually has to vote on them. Yeah, I'm not anticipating any problems, but we haven't met, we've just sort of been laying low because we're kind of letting things settle out with the repurpose committee and it was summertime and.
Yeah.
So, but maybe we'll get back and have a meeting in September and deal with that. We gotta replace the treasurer and so. Anyways, okay, so all those in favor? Could you give me her, do I have her contact information? Was that in the?
She emailed Hannah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna email her and tell her that we'll be getting a meeting to vote on, okay. All right. Tax acquired property. Hannah, you wanna lead this?
Okay, so. August 30th comes the 90 days that we send out the last letter to Francis Walsh. For the tax acquired property. And after the 30 days, the 90 days. We are obligated to, take the next steps, which would be to hire a. Real estate agent to post and try to sell the property. But with the new law that came out August 9th, we have to follow that law. So I did put it in your new packets. It states that we have 3 attempts to get a real estate agent with it, and if we do, it has to be listed for 12 months. And if we can't get one, we are able to sell it how we please. But this will be a long process. Yet again. So.
And we did answer the question that it applies when the property was tax acquired is immaterial. The fact that it was tax acquired before the law changed. Doesn't exempt it from this process.
Right. So we have to follow.
Well, that was a question I had, but. And now Terry tells me that there's somebody apparently living in it. I think there's a vehicle in there. But nobody picks up anything. The sheriff ended up taping it to the door. So we got 3 options, I think. One is. We write him a quick claim deed and go get out of this completely, which sets a terrible precedent.
Yeah.
But it is an option. We list it. Or attempt to list it. We may not get anybody who's interested in it. Listing it. Because how you gonna, put a sign out there and is it gonna disappear the next day and I guess those are the only 2 options. Thought there was a third, but.
But can you really just give him a quick claim deed if he doesn't pay the taxes? I think that does set a bad precedent.
Oh, it's Daryl's stuff, and I'm not in favor of it at all, but it is an option.
No,
Yeah, and where people do that is when, like if there's a real bad environmental problem, something.
you
They don't-
you
you
just
don't
don't
want
really
it.
want it, right? Yeah,
It's like, you keep.
but I don't know if that's the case with that. I think it's a viable piece of property, isn't it?
Oh, I think the property is,
Yeah,
if you don't want to live next to
I
something.
mean, I don't like to have anybody out of their home, but you can't just let,
Well, and they obviously they're not cooperating either.
right?
So it looks like our next step then really is to,
Attempt to list it.
yeah,
And we gotta try with 3 real estate agents.
Yeah.
I think Pete might be interested. He's pretty active in this area and lives in town.
Yeah.
And he seems to be willing to, I see his signs on all kinds of different properties. But I don't know who else we could contact. Is there anyone else who lives in town? That works for real estate? Molly Hooper?
Yeah, does she still sell real estate?
I don't know.
I believe so.
Well. We can try to come up with.
Well, they don't have to be in town.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking, it might be easier. To deal with someone,
We can look at pieces of property similar to see who's selling them. And ask them if they.
so do we, I guess do we wanna charge Hannah with listing the contacting 3 real estate agents and attempting to list the property for sale?
yes,
I don't see that we have a choice.
Okay, is that a motion?
that is a motion.
Okay. Further discussion? All those in favor? And Sue, I wasn't suggesting we do that, I just said
Yeah,
that is an
yeah.
option.
I do have a question.
Okay.
If I do find a real estate agent, should we write something up and I directly bring it to the house? So they know at least it's getting on real estate.
I think you probably should go and take something to the door tomorrow and say we
Okay.
voted to list it.
Okay. I can do it.
for sale. And don't say your property, say your former property.
Okay.
What about the eviction? I mean. Is that a process the town still undertake?
No, I think it's sold as is, isn't it?
Oh, you mean it comes with a tenant?
Yeah. And the other thing is, you should keep track of all your time, because all of that can be
Yeah, it can be
deducted from
recovered.
it.
From the cost,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
everything.
and just to be clear, I think you start with one real estate agent.
Right.
They deny, they
Yeah.
say no, then move on to the
Yep.
second and the third.
Yeah,
And they
I
don't
don't
get-
and do you need to have that in writing? Do you
Oh, I
know?
think we should, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
that they deny.
Or at least you document, I called such and such a day, I called so and he
Yeah.
declined or she declined.
Right,
Okay,
because once you have three, then you go to the alternate.
Yeah. And, yeah, keep all your time. Okay,
for every phone call.
I know it's a pain in the neck, but. All right. Okay, the audit, I met with Terry and Hannah, we went over in detail. She did explain your question, that's, the larger amount is all the funds and and the smaller number is just the general fund. And she was,
So she gave you a good number for,
Yeah.
for the surplus?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, for the general fund surplus, yeah,
yeah.
you know.
Do you have it?
Well, it's in the audit, it's the same one, except we gotta deal with the question that she posed about the carryover.
Oh, the 40.
Because when we made that adjustment on the paving reserve.
Yeah.
And I personally would like to carry over the larger amount, I bet you're surprised.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, the more I get out there, we just went up to Garrison Road and started doing some ditching and we thought we were gonna do a couple of culverts. I mean, the two cross culverts were rotten, I mean, we got into a lot up there. And we got more of that and the bushes on Westbrook Street really need to be cut back bad and so. I'd like to carry it all forward. And that leaves us with the same surplus number that we had to begin with.
Right.
But that's your decision. Or at least
Well, so
some of it.
what she needs to do, what we need to get back to her on is whether or not to take it out of the reserves.
No, she said. Terry sent this, it said, I think you got it right, yeah. The Hager paving invoice was paid out of town road expenses, but should have been taken out of the paving reserve.
Right.
Mindy can journal that in the audit to correct it, which she's gonna do. We carried over 27,000 unspent, removing the expense from the town account leaves a balance of 70,000. Do you wanna carry this new unspent amount forward, or the 27?
In fact, I thought we already voted on the 70.
No,
Uh,
no, we voted on the 27, because that's what we thought we had. And then when we went over the audit, I said, ooh, they didn't zero out the paving reserve.
right.
And somehow that got messed up, but. But if you can't see your way to the 70, I'd at least like to carry. over
No,
the-
I'm good with 70.
Because
mean,
I feel like I'm finally getting stuff going and people are responding. Is there a motion?
Yeah, I would move that we, after removing the expense from the town road account, the balance of $70,652.60 be carried over for use on
Yeah,
roads.
and that includes the 27 we already did.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
I'll second that.
All those in favor? And while we're on road, just real quickly, I'm pretty sure we're gonna get reimbursed by FEMA for the village, repairs, the embankment and, down on across almost the McClunes too, so I think, don't you, Dana, you get the sense we're kind of there?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, once we start all the projects and stuff and start, putting it into the portal, they can
Yeah,
start
we just had to get
the
our,
ball.
make sure we got local permits, local and state permits are required, and Because the village road is fairly expensive. Because that embankment just washed away, it's just gone. And there's an old culvert there that really, if you're gonna extend that banking out, the culvert needs to be replaced, it just gets complicated. Okay,
Wasn't that all new? Don't we have a warranty?
I know.
Work done?
what?
Wasn't that all new?
No,
Was that was the
Where they
section
raised
right
the
up to
road.
it?
no, we're talking on Village Road.
Oh, the other side?
Yeah, up beyond Pooey Dunk's wall.
Oh,
Like
I thought-
between, like between
All they
Pam
did was
and,
pave that there,
yeah.
they didn't do anything to the banking there.
Yeah.
But the banking just, well, it disappeared around his wharf too.
Yeah.
And he's repaired that already.
He's brought in a lot himself there, didn't he?
Yeah, and we're
He
gonna
did a lot
tie
of
into
work,
that,
yeah,
so. Yeah, I've been talking to him, he's all in favor of this, so.
yeah, oh, I
Yeah.
bet, yeah.
Yeah. The other option is we make that a dead end road.
You might not mind that either.
Okay,
So I'll move that we approve the audit as updated.
okay,
I'll second that.
all in favor? Okay. Okay, on the state, Hannah called DOT, this is Route 131. And the way their process works, we're too late to get it changed for this year.
Right.
And it's only a couple grand short, and we've actually made money on this over the last 5 years. So I feel, I'm recommending that we go ahead, since we made a lot more than we're gonna spend.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And it's getting close to winter.
Right.
And get this contract with Jimmy executed, even though it's what, 2 grand more than they're gonna reimburse us or something like that. But just last year, they reimbursed us, what,
4,000.
4,000 more than
Yeah.
we, so. And then remember next year to get our adjustment in on time, so,
Yeah, and they're gonna do the rate increase next spring as well, so.
yeah.
Well, I hope they do it based on the market out there, because plowing contracts are coming in horrendously everywhere across the board.
Right, and what he told me was, the way they reimburse the towns is not for them to go out and contract people out.
That's what I was worried.
Yeah. So,
That-
he's like, you're lucky we even got money back, so.
Well, we didn't have to do it.
Right.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's what he doesn't understand. is-
Right.
We could say no, right?
But yeah,
Oh, yeah.
well, we can't now, because we're locked in for it.
Yeah,
Well, we could say no, because I think we could, I think, yeah, we could probably get out of it if they're not reimbursed for this full amount.
And then they would have to plow it.
And they used to, they'd send a truck out of Walden Road and
Yeah.
all the way up Route 1 and all the way to Port Clyde and back, and
Yeah.
they'd run out of sand and salt about, the maritime store over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why they asked us in St. George and Thomaston to do it.
But St. George contracts theirs out too, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like we're different in
no,
that
no,
respect.
no. Every town either contracts it out, or they have their own public works that does it,
Mhm.
and there's an expense associated with it. So him saying we're not doing it for you to contract it out just makes no
No,
sense.
yeah,
town
it doesn't work either. But I mean, they're the ones who wanted this, because they were in pinch. They've gotten lots of complaints and.
Maybe he thinks we were trying to look for a low bidder so that we'd actually make money on it, like we did for a few years, but.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so is there a motion to that effect?
That's so moved.
Seconded.
Let Hannah figure out all the motion.
Yeah, actually, do we even need a motion? We already voted, we already approved Jimmy's contract,
Right.
yeah.
We're just.
I don't think we even need a motion.
Okay.
Elwell Point. There's between Elwell Point and the driveway above it, there's a picture that I passed out to you right there. There's a bunch of trees and a low spot in the middle, and Charlie McClure, who's the caretaker, swears that before the road project, there was a culvert that went across Elwell Point. And the survey that Gottlieb and Dorsey did for the road project doesn't show one. I talked to Jerry, and Jerry doesn't recall one being there, but he doesn't not recall one being there. Charlie swears that he and Chet and Jerry installed one there several years ago. So what's happening now is the water can't escape in that ponded area. And it's killing the trees and it's overflowing the driveway. I've seen it myself. And I think Charlie's right. I think there had to have been a culvert there.
But, and the deed uses it as a pin.
That's a reference point, right? You've got
Yeah.
the deed that uses it as a reference. I think.
Well,
what
how
happened-
old is that deed?
2000.
Also not that old.
Well, the transfer was 13, but the original deed was 2004, so.
Well, I think what happened is the culvert was probably not cleaned out. It kind of got buried in the bushes and the surveyors missed it,
Yeah,
which can happen. Because something has drastically changed there. There's no question in my mind. And now the culvert's gonna have to go quite a ways back in the driveway because the road has been raised in that area and the driveway's been raised, but not as much as the road. So the low point now is back probably 30 feet off the road. But I think, I feel we have an obligation to remedy the situation.
yeah, I do too.
I feel we created it.
So
And
whose road is that?
it's a private driveway.
Does it belong to
It
property
belongs
that
to
he
the-
maintains
it
or the
belongs-
other property?
It actually belongs to the property to the right, not the one out in the point. The people in the point have a right of way across that.
So the
drive-
people by the pound, that's a right of way for them?
Yeah.
Okay,
Because the line, property line, based on the survey that Guy Landorski did, goes kind of right up the edge of the impoundment area.
okay.
So, but I talked to Charlie and I said, Charlie, you know, it's a paved driveway, so we're gonna have to cut it and patch it. You know, we're not gonna come down and repave the driveway. No, that's fine, he says. And I think where it's so deep in the property, we probably should get a letter of permission. Cause I think it is technically outside of the right of way.
Yeah.
But I don't see any way other than to fix it. And then I feel like I feel like we should maybe just do it once and then it's their issue.
Right.
And I feel like we should put that in a letter and record it and.
I agree.
And also, I think I would put in there that you're not repaving it, that you're patching it,
Right,
just so
Yeah.
that
we'll patch.
they know
it.
that up front that that's. the
We'll patch
deal.
with hot top,
Right,
but it's gonna be a patch.
Right.
Right, yeah. Okay. And so is there a motion to authorize that?
I would make a motion that we authorize the temporary part-time uncompensated road commissioner to put a culvert in there however it can go in.
Okay,
I'll second that.
all right. All those in favor? I'll abstain. Okay. Okay, dangerous building hearing. So. Hannah printed out the section on the public notice. And we have to put this notice. In the paper for 3 successive weeks prior to the date of the hearing. Kristen didn't put that in her memo, but it's in the, what it says. Notice required under section 2851, which is what we're dealing with right here, correct? Because 2851 referred us to 2857. Huh?
Yep, that's
Yeah.
I want through.
Must be served on the owner and parties in interest in the same way service or process is made in accordance with the main rules of civil procedure. When the name or address of an owner or party in interest is unknown or is not ascertainable with reasonable diligence, the notice must be published once a week for 3 successive weeks prior to the date of hearing in a newspaper generally circulated, and I think we meet those circumstances.
Yeah.
We don't really know who owns this property. That's the problem she's been having, you know?
Right,
Well, we know who we're taxing to. We're taxing to Maine Coast Seafood, but they don't exist as a corporation.
I think we meet the intent of that
And
requirement.
the last thing we wanna do is go through this whole thing and get it thrown out.
Right.
Because
Because we
we have a
didn't do that.
procedural notice error.
Yep.
So Hannah and I were talking, so we think we at least need to be 4 weeks out
Right.
to get it in the paper, maybe even a little more with Labor Day and, cause you usually gotta get
Right.
stuff there by Tuesday.
Yeah, and they don't do it till like they don't really start it till.
Right, but you gotta get it till Tuesday, and Monday's a holiday, so you may lose a week right there.
I mean, at best, she'd get it in the 5th, the 12th, and the 19th. Which means that we probably couldn't even have it until like the 26th. Well, I guess we'd have to.
Yeah, I mean, are you around this week? We can get something in?
Yeah.
Okay. For next Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay, so what day do we wanna do this at a regular meeting, or we wanna?
I would say, we already have one, I think, scheduled for the 24th of
Yeah.
September.
And when we get to the meeting schedule,
Yeah,
I'm
we
gonna
do.
say I have a problem with it.
Oh, yeah, on the 24th. Oh,
Do we wanna do it just separately, like a daytime thing, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or are you back at work now, Sue?
I've been working all summer.
No, but you were more flexible, you said.
yeah.
You said
Oh,
you were,
Yeah, but I can get, what time are you thinking?
I was thinking like 4 or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm out by 4. I'm out usually by 3 unless,
I mean, my feeling is, plus Kristen wanted to attend, right?
This meeting?
No, the hearing.
Yes. Yeah, she wants to attend the hearing.
So why don't we pick a couple of dates at 4 and then we can find out when she's available and.
okay, what's your comment?
and what area of September are we,
Yeah, it's,
are you
Yeah,
thinking?
it almost has to be the end of that last week, right?
The last week of September?
Yeah,
Okay,
Yeah.
which is for me problematic, but.
It is? We can't do it the week before, if we get it in tomorrow or the next day,
Well, if we get it in,
it won't get published until.
yeah.
Right.
Will it get published Friday? This Friday?
No,
No, I
No.
think it takes.
it's gotta be in Tuesday, and it had to be in today to get published this week.
Yeah,
At
so,
least that's the
so,
way it used to be.
so the 5th, the 12th, and the 19th, so we almost have to, our hearing almost has to be that next week, which is the 23rd through the 27th.
Yeah, and that's, yeah, I got a problem the 24th to the 27th. So maybe the next week,
I won't be here, but
you won't? Where are you?
I'm, well, let's see, I'll be here. I leave.
I mean,
on-
you're out of town, I didn't mean.
Right,
where
right.
are you?
Yeah,
Personal.
I'm going to Colorado.
Oh, I didn't mean that, I meant,
But I leave on Wednesday, the 2nd of October.
and your meeting's on the 1st, right, Penny?
Which meeting
The facilities committee,
is out of the 1st of what?
October?
No,
No,
we are hoping to meet on the 17th.
right, but what, you said you were gonna meet the 1st and 3rd Tuesdays, is that what you told me?
Well, we're just gonna work around the select board, because you guys tend to sort these.
Oh, but if we meet at 4, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Can you do the 1st at 4? Or can you do the 30th at,
I can do the 30th. Anytime.
okay, I have a dentist at.
September 30th?
Ah, damn.
Yeah,
I have a dentist at 3.
well, we could, 5, or, we could still do 6. Well,
And you can't do before 4, right?
I can do 3:30.
Yeah, but no, I'm gonna be at the dentist.
3:15.
Yeah,
I could get out and get here by 3 if I have to.
yeah, but I got a dentist at 3.
Oh, well, that won't work then. What?
Now, are you talking about a select board meeting or a special?
A special public hearing on this dangerous building.
Yeah, but without. Okay.
Can we do 5 PM on the 30th?
I can.
I can.
Okay. So why don't we see if Kristen can do that? Should we pick a backup date?
Tuesday.
Probably.
Huh?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, okay, so,
Tuesday at 4. First.
I think that works for me.
What did you say?
The
4 PM on
October.
October 1st,
Oh,
as a backup.
yep.
And that's at 4.
Yes.
So if you could get a hold of Kristen.
Yep.
Because that's gonna, getting a hold of her is gonna dictate how quickly you're gonna be able to get it in the newspaper.
Right.
Okay. Monthly reports, we just had the fire department, because they didn't have one in at the last meeting. And you had a question about what? I haven't had a chance to read it yet, but so you had a question about a house burn?
Oh, I was just curious where the fire department was. It said they were burning. That they were gonna burn. Something, and I wondered where it was. Cause now I'm not seeing it.
Yeah, I think you said he planned on doing it the 22nd.
Oh, yeah. Um. They met with the DEP for air quality at a house that we must burn.
Really? They must burn?
That's what it says. I received the okay that we're all set to burn the house. I then met with the CMP regarding the wires that run across the property. And they're all set with everything. So I was just wondering where they're burning a house.
I don't know. Can you find out?
I can.
It seems like it's something we should know. right?
Yeah, if there's property that has to burn it.
Right.
Must burn it.
I don't,
Well,
I
it
think that,
says we must.
I think that's gotta be a typo. I don't think they're.
We
on the-
plan to burn, maybe.
Yeah.
We want to burn.
Okay. Correspondence, excuse me, donations, no, I missed appointments. Moira Paddock has requested to be an alternate member of the planning board. I included an email in the packet. My only question is, do we do alternates for 3-year terms? Some reason I thought those were year to year to year.
As far as I know, that we can do an alternate for 3 years.
Right, but I thought we did them year to year, but I could be wrong about that.
I have to look at, because planning board is mandated appointment.
Do you have any insight on that? No, okay.
Eric
Well,
asked me to be one.
yeah, I think what we traditionally done, we reappoint every year.
The alternates.
Yes, but we normally have a term on them. For three-year term, but we reappoint every year.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we just have a motion to appoint Moira as an alternate to the planning board for the appropriate term? Because we're doing,
Whatever that may be.
we're doing it in the middle of the year anyway.
Right.
So, I mean, it's, you know, it's not gonna be really a 3-year term.
No, or even a 1 year.
Yeah, if there was and I don't think we've had an alternate in so long, that you're gonna be able to figure out when the term ends, because, and usually most alternates don't make it through a year because they get bumped up or get appointed. Okay, is that fair?
Yes. Have you got that motion?
I did.
That is the motion.
Okay, further discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Thank you for stepping up.
I do have a
Thank
question.
you.
Oh, I hope you weren't waiting for that.
Oh, no,
Oh, okay.
I do have a question. How is the taking of the minutes going?
fine,
Is it?
yeah, but Kara just asked me because that'll help with a quorum.
Yeah.
Because with people that going, and I'm learning something, so
Yeah.
it works.
Well, and the requirement is if an alternate steps in to fill a vacancy, they have to attest that they have followed, if there's one carried over from the beginning.
Okay,
So if you're the note taker, it's pretty easy to attest that you followed it.
yeah,
Good. Thank you.
yep, thank you.
Okay, we have 2 donations, as I understand it. Someone will have to refresh my memory what they are.
I have a $25 donation to the ambulance. Carolyn. Something. I have it. Somewhere. Oh, right here. Oh. From Carolyn Elwell and Melanie Dennison.
Is there a motion to accept?
I would move that we accept the donation from, was it Melanie and Carolyn to the ambulance for $25.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor? And you send out a form, right? And we have another donation.
From Richard Bradley for $125 to the library.
This is to the operating account, not to the, yeah.
How much was that?
125. And I have a copy of it that.
Sure.
I printed and left.
I move we accept the donation from Richard for $125 to the library.
I'll second that.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Okay, we have warrants to sign. I'll come in and sign mine tomorrow. I thought we were gonna take the review next items for next agenda off. I thought we agreed to that at a couple of meetings ago,
Yeah,
because we never do it.
right.
Okay.
It's really a reminder for Hannah to
Yeah,
review the next agenda item.
so, oh,
Every time we try to take it off, you always have one. This
what,
happens every time.
what?
Well,
She has something for the next agenda.
Oh,
She's the only one who uses it.
well, it was, yeah. But you wanna tell her now, or?
we will be coming back, I assume, because there's going to be another donation forthcoming to pay a civil engineering firm to assist the architectural firm. with Civil engineering stuff. So we'll have to come back and ask for.
Okay, for approval of this, not to accept the donation, we'll have to accept the donation, but
Well,
also
that
to
too.
spend it, yeah,
Yeah, that's another item.
okay. Schedule future meetings, let's just review. If we can take a second, so we have, today's the 27th, what God, it's September. So we have one on the 10th, and that's one scheduled for the 24th. And I am pretty sure I have a conflict on the 24th. I don't know for 100%, but I'm almost positive, so I'm just wondering. Is people available on the 23rd? I know the fire department uses this room, but. Sometimes they don't need it.
They might not need it if they have that fire burn on the 22nd.
Oh,
That's
they're-
totally not sure.
Well, you
Good
can,
point.
can you do the 23rd?
I can do the 23rd.
Can you? So would you check and see if the fire department needs the room?
Yeah.
We're talking about 6 o'clock.
Yeah. And actually, I'll be gone. Like 4 days there. So that would be 9/23, and then October. We just scheduled something for something.
Back up on the front.
Yeah, the 30th or the 1st.
Yes.
And then our regular meeting dates would be the 8th and the 22nd, is that correct?
I can do the 8th, but I'm not gonna be here.
Should we move that?
No, let's keep the 8th and I'll try to zoom in from Greece.
Great.
Geez, it'll be late.
It's gonna be late.
Right. I'll try to.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't make that commitment. Why don't we pick another date? Or maybe not have it at all.
Well, I'm leaving on the 15th and getting back on the 30th, so.
Wow, that's a long time.
So let's see if we can make, the 5th is election day, right?
Yes.
Let's see if we can struggle through to the 12th.
Well, you got one on the 8th.
I know,
On the
That's
8th.
still good.
yeah, but let's see if we can struggle through to the 12th.
November 12th.
No,
Oh.
November.
Are we in November or October?
November
Now
now,
he's in November.
cause Jeff can't do,
The 8th.
Yeah,
no, he can do the 8th.
I can do the 8th.
22nd,
yeah.
right?
So I can't do the rest of October.
And you can't do the
Okay.
29th.
Oh, so great. Okay.
The 5th is election day.
Yes.
So that brings me
To the 12th.
to the 12th, which is our regular meeting day. So let's just try to get stuff done next week and we can take a night off
Okay.
and Jeff can enjoy, not have to zoom in at 1 in the morning. That's not one, well, Greece.
Yes, I think it's 8
8 hours.
8 hours.
That's crazy.
And now we're really talking deep in.
Right.
We're talking winter now.
No kidding.
Anything else?
No, I think we got that.
You got something else?
Well, I don't know if you. Comment, and I was missed it, but,
Yeah, I did poke on it.
okay, well, Terry had mentioned that there's going to be a. Application available online for people to print out and fill out to. Get their absentee ballots, going to. Fill it out and send it in to you, and then when they become available, then.
So you have to do it online.
No, they can print out the application and drop it off here or put it in the drop box. You know,
Yes.
I know that there are people that either don't maintain a printer at home anymore or don't maintain a computer at home anymore, so that can be an option for them to come into the library.
Maintaining a working printer is the key.
Yeah. They can come in and do that. And what else?
Well, you'll be getting information out on the listserv and website and stuff anyways, I assume at some point.
With the aptitude.
Yeah, not,
Yeah.
you know, not in the too far away future.
Right, we usually do it once we receive the ballots, and
Yeah.
that's when we get a lot of people coming in.
But this,
Right now, we have at least like 20 people now waiting for a ballot.
but I think the application's live now.
Yes, yep, that, we have 20
That they
people
can do
waiting.
that, so maybe it'd be good to send it out just so people can
I
get
can
it
send it
out of
out.
the way and.
Yeah, and I can, yeah, like Terry said, she can put it on the website and it can be available.
What are we sending out now?
The application for an absentee ballot that you have to fill
So
out,
we're not physically sending it out, you're just talking about putting it on
having them
a
fill it.
link or something.
Right,
On the.
and they can get it
Listserv.
and print it out themselves and.
Or they can come into the office.
Yes. Yeah, I think we you need to be very careful about how you do things.
Yeah. we'll
Get the right word.
Yeah.
Cause I think this. Yeah. Extremely tough.
Yeah.
So without objection, we're adjourned.
Cool. Not bad.
I thought we'd go later.